My name is Jim Zelenka. I'm the current president here for the Salem chapter of the Northwest Steelheaders. Our program director is Tom Caffin, and we'll have him come up here at the start of after the break to help introduce our guest speaker, Jeremy Jahn.
Yeah, I've met Jeremy about 3 or 4 years ago and got it back into kokanee fishing. I'm basically a salmon fisherman on a part-time guide service and fish out of Tillamook and Astoria. But I got kind of interested and ran into Jeremy up at the sportsmanship in Portland. And started talking to him and found out he just lives a few blocks away from me, about a half a mile away from me. What the heck? So I got involved with Jeremy on the kokanee. And I guarantee you the stuff that he's going to tell you tonight is stuff that is very valuable for you to know. I mean, the products he puts together, the stuff that he sells, catches kokanee. I was up with, last year in July, with Nick Amato and the executive producer or executive director of the Steelheaders, Russ Bassett. We put 52 fish in the boat in 4 hours using his products. Okay? So, Jeremy, and Debbie's back there selling stuff, but Jeremy, I'd like to introduce him. He's going to give you a little information on how to do Green Peter and how to fish it successfully. And believe me, the stuff that he does is very successful. That's why I got involved with him. Okay, Jeremy.
Thanks, Tom. Thanks again for the invite. Hopefully everybody can hear me. We've got quite a few people here. This isn't going to be a normal seminar, so if you come to one of my seminars in the past, usually I go into details about different types of tackle and stuff. I am going to leave some time at the end for questions. This is more of an advanced type of a seminar, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to diagnose Green Peter and Odell Lake. I'm going to talk about the different times of year that I like fishing it, give you some tips on locations, different areas that I like fishing, and then also some of the tackle that works for me at that lake. So we're going to go ahead and start with Green Peter. Hopefully everybody got a map. I have some free maps back there that show Green Peter and Odell, and then I've also got some laminated ones as well that we're charging for them, but I'm not making any money off of them. It's basically the cost of the lamination. So if you don't have a map, go back and get one. So let's talk about Green Peter. The Green Peter Dam, it was completed in 1967. It's located 11 miles northwest of Sweet Home. It's 10 miles long. So that's something to keep in mind. If you have a small boat and you have a hard time getting around, it can be kind of challenging. Plus, at times that lake can get very, very windy. So I know people that like fish out of drift boats. Be careful in the areas I'm telling you to fish. You can get caught and it can get pretty nasty on that lake. The elevation, this is really, really important. You'll notice that this is a very low elevation lake. It's only a little bit over 1,000 feet in elevation. And the camping, not very much camping up at this lake. And I wouldn't recommend camping up at Whitcomb Creek Park. The parking up at that reservoir and the camp have had a lot of issues with break-ins. I know personally my dad's had gas stolen out of his tank. If you are going to camp, the campground at Sunnyside Park down on Foster Lake, it's a short drive up to Green Peter. It's got very, very nice, safe camping. They have showers there. If I'm planning on staying to fish Green Peter, that's where I'm camping. So they do have camping up above, but I'm just telling you, I wouldn't recommend camping up there. They did, this year they did get rid of the camping on the roadside. So there will not be any more campers being able to camp on the roadside as you're driving up. I don't know if any of you were into that, but that won't be an option this year as well. The boat ramps, you got 2 of them. You got Thistle Creek and Whitcomb. And you can launch down at the dam if you have a smaller boat. The boat launch I like is Thistle Creek for boat launches. One thing that's nice about this lake is it is actually open year-round for fishing. So I know me personally, sometimes I get cabin fever really bad and I just got to go out fishing for some kokanee. I know people that fish it January, February, March. So you do get some early season, and if you are going to do the early season fishing, they extended the boat ramp down at Thistle Creek in 1999, and it's actually a very, very nice boat ramp when they do the drawdown, so it's pretty easy to get in for that. The other thing that's nice about this lake, which is kind of different for other lakes if you're fishing them in different states, is you're actually able to keep 25 kokanee per person. So actually I had somebody back here ask me with the picture up there, what's the limit on that lake? It's actually 25 per person, and this fishery here is a catch and keep fishery. If you catch a kokanee, and I catch a lot of them that are really small that people would release, I actually keep them. The retention level on a kokanee when you release it in the lake, they're 90% of the time they're going to die, no matter how you have them hooked. They're a really high energy fish, and no matter how easy it is when you let them go, usually they'll end up dying anyway, and the little ones taste just as good as the big ones, so in my opinion. But, so if you catch one, keep it. So this is the map that we have for Green Peter. The other maps that I'm going to be bringing up are a little bit of a drawdown, and you'll see what we're going on, but I'm going to point out the area of the lake that we're talking at. This is the boat ramps. This is Thistle Creek. That's the one I actually like launching at, and the other one is Whitcomb, which is right here. Dams up at this location. So early season fishing for Green Peter, especially this time of year all the way into May, what you're looking for is warmer water temperature. The warmer the water, the better off you are. The water temperature at Green Peter right now is somewhere around 50, 51 degrees. If you took your boat and traveled down towards the dam, it's going to be about 5 degrees colder. The water temperature down there is going to be somewhere between 45 to 48 degrees. So what you're doing is you're trying to find warm water, so you want to avoid this area of the lake like the plague early in the season. I wouldn't even waste my time driving down there. The fishing's not going to be as good. So what you're looking for is creeks running into the lake. It's got a little bit more warm water running into it. So this area of the lake down here, which I'm going to zoom into, is my favorite area for early season kokanee fishing. And I'm going to get into a little bit on how I set up for early season, and then if you have other questions later on. But for early season, because we're in that right now, what I like doing is I still utilize my downriggers in my boat. And what I do is I take what I consider a normal style dodger. This is a normal style dodger, and I will run it 100 feet back behind my boat. Once I have it 100 feet back behind my boat, I take my downrigger weight, and I will, this is going to be really difficult.
Nobody come help.
Yeah, will you? This is my wife.
I can hold it.
You just hold it for me.
I don't care when I do this.
All right. So this is Debbie, by the way. She does catch most of the fish. Well, she reels in most of the fish. So this is my first rod. It's 100 feet back, and what I do is I attach it to my downrigger release, and I will drop this somewhere between 3 to 5 feet in the water column. So first rod went down 3 to 5 feet in the water column. Then the next thing I utilize is a lure or a dodger that's manufactured by Mac Lures. You want to show them that? That one right there. Yep. This is called a double D dodger. And what's really nice about this dodger is it will side plane off to the side. So if you look at the back, there's different holes that you can put your dual lock or your barrel swivel into. Hole number 4 will side plane this off to the right-hand side of the boat, and hole number 1 will side plane it off to the left-hand side of the boat. And you're more than happy to come up and look at this. So if I'm setting up the right-hand side of my boat, I got this set on hole number 4. I will release this 75 feet back into the water, and then I will attach it to my second downrigger clip, which my wife manufactures these. You want to show them that? So I set that on, and I will drop it just to the line is underneath the water column. It'll do a couple things for you. One, sometimes early in the season when you're fishing, there's a lot of debris in the water system, and by having your line underneath the water, you won't catch as much debris on your line. And the second thing is with the downrigger clip, you'll get a solid connection. So if a fish hits it, you have a connection with the line when it comes off the release. So, and then what I do is I just start fishing. So, and then on the other side of the boat, I do the exact same thing, 100 feet back, hook it up 5 feet down, 75 feet back, hook it up, and just drop it to where the line's in the water. And what's going to happen is your boat's going to have two rods going straight back and then 2 off to the side, and you kind of take a swath through the lake as you're going. And I've had absolutely fantastic luck doing that. So next lake that I'm going to talk about, and don't forget I'll open it up for questions because I'm sure there's going to be a bunch of them about how you do this and that, is Odell Lake. A couple things, it's a natural lake. It was created by a glacier. It's up on Highway 58 near Willamette Pass. There's actually a ski resort up in that area. The major inflow to that lake is Trapper Creek, which is located on the west side. And the outflow is Odell Creek, which is located on the north-south end of the lake. It's 6 miles long. It's got 13.3 miles of shoreline. And something that I want you to pay attention to is the elevation of that lake. The elevation of that lake is 4,700 feet. Super, super high. And for that reason alone, I usually do not fish this lake until July. I want the water temperature to warm up. I want the fish to drop in the water column. I do know a lot of people that do like jigging for kokanee that will go early in the season, but for me personally, I like the fish to drop. So July, there's a couple reasons. The fish have dropped in the water column, but also the mosquitoes aren't as bad in July. And I've done really good in August, September, and October at that lake as well. So this is my late season getaway. For camping, you got two resorts up there. There's lots of camping options. The one that I stay at is Shelter Cove. It's on the west end of the lake, so you're out of the wind. The east end has a tendency to get pretty windy. And then there's also some normal campgrounds. Princess Creek's the other one that's on the west side that's fairly nice to go to. This lake is only open from April through the end of October. It's got lots of different boat launches. I will tell you that if you have an extremely large boat, I do know a guy that fishes that lake with a houseboat. I would recommend that you go down to Sunset Cove. It's a little bit better boat launch for people that have big boats. Different fish in that lake. You got rainbows. There is not very many rainbow in the lake. There are a few, and they can be very, very big. But because of the Mackinac and the bull trout population, when they see a rainbow swimming around, they go dead meat. So they're pretty easy to catch for those guys compared to the kokanee. So for that reason, there isn't very many rainbow in the lake. I will tell you that the state record Mackinac came out of that lake in '84, which was 40 pounds. It was a monster. My wife actually caught a really big one last year. And there's bull trout. The bull trout are endangered at that lake, so if you catch one, please do not take it out of the water system. And if you don't know the difference between a bull trout and a Mackinac, please look it up before you fish the lake, because there are bull trout in the lake and they're endangered. And then there's also some whitefish carp in that lake as well. And then of course kokanee, and you can keep 25 at this lake as well, which is fantastic. So Odell Lake, I'm going to talk about the west end first. This is usually where you see all the boats at. It's Burley Bluff. It's a big rock slide. Usually what I call the armada, or the massive amount of boats with the lights on. That's where they're starting their day, is right here at Burley Bluff. So I'm going to go into that a little bit closer. So this is the bluff right up in here. You'll see a lot of guys really cutting into the shoreline back and forth here. I personally do not like fishing this area of the lake. There's too many boats for me to fish. But it's very close to Shelter Cove, so it's a real easy drive for people, especially if you have a smaller boat. I will give you a tip. This is a really good tip too. If you do see a lot of people fishing this edge here, if you position yourself off that edge a little bit and fish away from that armada, what I call, what'll happen is they won't scare the fish towards shore, they'll come out towards you. And I've had some fantastic days fishing away from the boats, just off, positioning myself just off from all those boats, and I just wave and say, thanks a lot, guys. And I'll just keep following them up, then I'll follow them back, and I've had some really good days. Last year, I did not fish that area of the lake once. There was a lot of boats up there, and I'll show you the areas that I like fishing. So Okay, I got one more question. I'm going to go way in the back here.
What's your trolling speed?
Trolling speed varies every day. So if you're just long lining, you're going to have to go slow because one, you got the weight going up and down. So anywhere between 0.8 to like 1.1. For the downrigger fishing, I've trolled as slow as 0.8 and I've trolled as fast as 1.9. It's a variable that you have to figure out every day. Sometimes the fish want stuff zipping by them, and sometimes they want it going slow. I had a day up at Odell with 3 friends who were calling back and forth, couldn't figure out what the heck was going on. All of a sudden I had 2 rods go off. I looked at my speed, because that's the first thing I do when I have a rod go off, and I noticed that the wind was picking me up at 1.7, and I went, well, that's probably what it is. So I picked my speed up to 1.8. All of a sudden, just everything was going off, and I called my friends. I said, dude, pick your speed up. We're going too slow. They picked their speed up, and we all started hitting fish. So it's something you have to figure out on every trip, along with the setback on it. So I'm out of time. Thank you very much. Don't forget, I got my website.
Thank you, Jeremy. To finish off the evening, number 1, Jeremy will be in the back there with Debbie, and there's more gear. You can check that out. But we're going to do some drawings for our door prizes right now. All I ask is if you can get up, if you haven't bought any door prize tickets, go ahead and go back to the Kokanee Kid Corner back there. But please keep it down so we can get the numbers read off out loud, and we can get the prizes to the folks. And 5009. Maybe they left. Red ticket? Oh, right over there. Okay, excellent. Okay. Okay, great.
I've got these things made up. I got
Okay, again, red tickets. Last 4 digits. 5166. 5166. Right over here.